sometimes feel like I'm in one of those old 1980s computer games, the retro kind of pixelated ones where the back of the screen's kind of chasing you, making you move faster and faster, and you can't go back because the screens just won't let you, and there are all these things that you have to kind of dodge and jump and get away from, and you have no chance to make a plan or work out what it all means. You just got to deal with all the shit that's on screen at that moment. And there are so many things to consider. There are these like arbitrarily placed Venus flytraps that just don't like you, and the green and red shells, and there's just holes that just lead, well, I don't know where, but it's not good. But there was this one point where you got the squirrel hat. This is getting fairly specific for a metaphor, I'll be honest with you, but bear with me. You got the feather, and then you could fly. I mean, not indefinitely, and with a run-up, but you could fly, and it was amazing, because you were hanging out in the clouds. In fact, you could stand on a cloud. You could then do another run-up, which meant you could sort of fly out of the game, or outside of the television, that was just a pretty good part of the game, I suppose. What was the initial thing that I was talking about? When I think about my life, I think about a series of pointless endeavours. I think about the time when I tried to check out the Magna Carta from the British Library. Maybe 4 days.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, would there be any fines or when the realtor was showing people around the flat I was moving out of, and I was bored, so I made a sort of outline. I'd be really grateful if you didn't sort of tell anyone that you saw this. Pointless, obviously, but not, necessarily meaningless, I think. Let's go back a bit. Guys, let's start by talking about Looking for the Best of David Hasselhoff. This was released in the year 2000. I should say, he's not known for his musical ability, for good reason. He's more known for Baywatch. Anyway, it's the year 2000, and he releases an album, Looking for the Best. Now, if you look at it on Amazon, the strange thing about the Best of David Hasselhoff import is it has 941 customer reviews, which is odd in itself. But even stranger still is the fact that 92% of them... What happened is that one guy, back in the year 2000, in more innocent times, went in and he wrote a review, a very genuine review, gave it 5 stars, said, I love this album, it's brilliant, 5 stars. And he just happened to say, also, track 14, which is called Hot Shot City, is particularly good. That's all he said. And these are the days before flash mobs, before Reddit, before Dig, before Twitter, before we had any means of coordinating this. People just started to go online and they started to give it ridiculously hyperbolic reviews. Hot Shot City, 5 stars. This is not an album. It's a journey. And they all said Hot Shot City is a particularly good song. Crazy for David, particularly good. A truly gifted master, Hot Shot City is particularly good. Everyone, 5-star stud, particularly good. Every review started to do it for no reason, and they had no way of communicating, they just found it funny to all say this. The word cloud on Amazon.com is Hot Shot. Shot City, particularly good. Musical master, particularly good. After hearing this, my life has changed. I've now given away every other CD. This is the reason the Beatles. And again, I understand that song Hot Shot City to be particularly good. Jesus himself. To be fair, that is legitimately true. One guy, there's always one, got really annoyed with this whole thing going on. There's always one guy. He's like, he gave it 1 star because he can't give it 0 stars and said, tell the truth! For the love of God, will everyone please be so kind as to actually engage their brains before writing a review of this album? Really, people, it's utter rubbish and you all know it. But then he put a little asterisk, and then at the bottom he wrote, this does in no way which is look at me. What a chump. I mean, that expression says it all, really. Can you be jaded at 5? Probably, because it's one of the first pictures taken of me. To me, that face says, just put me back in the womb. This has all been a terrible, terrible mistake. Your parents tell you can be anything you want to be when you grow up. And while that's true, what they fail to mention is the fact that you have to sort of pick one thing and then stick with that. And the thing is that even at that, what am I doing? That's not clever behaviour. The point is that even at that early age, I knew that I wanted to be a comedian. And I told my parents that. But I was so young that I couldn't pronounce the word comedian. So what I ended up explaining to my parents was that my ambition was to become a chameleon. Obviously they worked out that I meant to say comedian, but by the time they'd done that, they couldn't find me, because I'd already blended into the furniture. Now that is a joke that I've made about 40 times on stage, and I'm not gonna lie, I think it worked twice, and that almost certainly was because something else was happening in the room that I wasn't aware of. And I mention that because it wasn't a strong joke. Because it wasn't a strong joke, I have integrity. Yeah, so when you're a child, the possibilities are endless, but obviously, some things get eliminated from that list fairly quickly. Musician, law enforcement, neuroscience, probably not on the cards. Obviously an astronaut, out of the question. I was not going to become a doctor. Professional cyclist, initially promising. Just as an aside, look what I found. This is me telling relatives that I've got a new baby sister called Hannah. Quite possibly though, it's the first call I made in which I told everyone that I had a baby brother called Hammer. It's an easy mistake to make. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. I'm not sure if it's preamble because I'm not sure it's going anywhere. Speaking of Hammer, that's my sister. I'm including this bit just to show you what a complete chonker she was. I mean, she was, that's large, isn't it? Is it? I don't know. Anyway, I just thought she'd be embarrassed by this. Where was I? Oh yeah, things I wasn't any good at. The bend. Head down, the arms, feet together, focus, control, and finally, the dive itself. Ta-da! The 80s were kind of amazing. I mean, look at this. This is apparently okay. Just push me in. That's Charles. He was the guy who taught me to do all my famous dives. My house isn't full of diving medals. Enough of that. Let's do more of these though. This was actually quite useful. I felt like we're getting somewhere. I got a parking ticket and it was for entering and stopping in a box junction where prohibited. This is a few years ago. What's prohibited? It means it's not allowed. How many of the words in this show have you not understood? That's not a hard word. And quite a few things are prohibited in America. Have you just not... Hang on. Okay, what's a box junction? That is a good question. Was that the same question? And was that mocha? Okay, mocha. I have another question. And I'm caffeinated now. A box junction, right? It's this thing. It's basically it's a box. I did not think I was going to have to be explaining this on stage tonight. I was ill prepared. It's yellow lines, and basically it crosses down the road. In fact, I'll explain it. You'll get it. I said this is preposterous. You have no proof, but it transpires they did have proof, and they had actually videoed it. And I didn't know they zoomed in quite as hard as they do. And this, you can see the anxiety in my eyes. Do you know what I mean? That is a box junction. You are not meant to be in it. You're meant to move through it. Anyway, so I went there and I went to the box junction. I saw it and look, there's nothing there. It's completely all rubbed away. It's like, how was I supposed to see that? So that was what I sent them. And they sent me this. They said, actually, James, look, those are the plans. That's the box junction. That is perfectly legal. That's how it is. That's how it always will be. And I sent it back to them. I said, look, I corrected it. They got back to me and they said, dear Mr. Veitch, I've determined the box junction is of acceptable visibility. So I sent them a letter. And this is quite a formal letter. I was quite proud of this. This is the letter that I sent them.
I said, "Dear Mr. Veitch, we received your letter. The writing was unfortunately too faint to read." I said, "I've determined the letter..." In a world filled with distractions, even something as simple as walking down the street can be tough. That's why I never leave the house without my Macintosh Classic. But I never leave the house, but when I do, I always have my Mac. I just carry it with me at all times, is what I'm saying. Whenever a new piece of technology comes into the marketplace, people are intimidated by it. I'm not a teacher, but as an early adopter, I lead the way. And I teach people, so I am also a teacher. But with an 8 MHz processor, I can pound out spreadsheets like there's no tomorrow. But there is a tomorrow, and it's right after today. And when the workload gets heavy, I bust out my dual setup. I'm James Veitch. I take each day as it comes. The computer does the hard work. Portability is key. Whether it be writing a report, updating a spreadsheet, or doing other business things. With the Macintosh Classic, I don't have to be chained to my desk. With just a few adjustments, I can be anywhere. James Veitch, Disruptor. Dum, dum.
Are we both the same character?
Let's have a look. I've got a slightly better haircut.
Uh-huh.
Are the lightsabers no more? That's what I want to know, because I haven't seen one in a while. Oh, stop taking everything. I need a gun. What the hell is a sideways minigun? All right, guys, do you want to get the hell out of here?
Get in the car.
My car's so much cooler than yours. Oh, well, we'll take the tank.
He said we'll take the tank. Do you want the gunner?
I'll just sit in the back minding my own business.
I'll be in the gunner. No, shoot it, shoot it, shoot it. Kill it.
Feels wrong to use a tank against a bird.
Kill it. No. We need gas.
Get out and push.
Come on. Yes.
Now, guys, gas prices have gone up, so maybe we shouldn't put very much in. Oh, thanks, mate. Got a jetpack on, so I'm probably use that, actually.
You actually do. I never knew you had one. Secret Toast.
Yo.
What's your real name?
James.
Nice to meet you, James.
But let's aim for here. We can grab a boat,
Go right here, Phil.
build a sandcastle.
Oh no, I'm about to die. I have 1 HP. 1 HP. 1.
Question, how many HP?
I got the battle bus.
What is the battle bus and how will I know it? I see, that's it, isn't it? I'm down and I'm back. Quick health potion. I have very little idea what's going on here. Why have I got a repair tool? I do not need a repair tool. What am I going to repair? Oh, great, a pistol. I'm just going to run away for a second, if you don't mind.
When you die or if you die, make sure to add him as a friend.
None of us are going to die, guys. I was like, oh, a blue gun, and it was a harpoon. Oh, right, I'm flying.
Can you guys fly to me?
Well, come pick you up in the chopper. This is your Uber Premium. Can you hop on, please?
Okay, I'm in.
This is your...
No.
Mate, be bounced. Wait.
Like a glove?
Down, I'm down.
So am I.
Hey, here's my sister. She won't be on.
Hello?
Hello?
Isn't that a British person?
I am a British person. Are you an American person?
American person, not American.
Well, you said British person. That's why I said American person. Whoa, can I just say that I get a bit car sick? So can you... I'm afraid I'm going to have to mark you down for that. Now, I'd like to see you parallel park. Yeah, you're definitely losing. That's a major point.
Get out of that car, it's gonna explode!
Okay, but I'm afraid to say that this time you have not been successful, but there's always next time, and you don't have to bring an MK7 assault rifle to the test.
Stop running them over.
Just run over by my own team. I'm not sure this car's got long left, to be honest. If you see a repair tool, we could probably do with it.
Oh yeah, he has one.
Oh, well, can you repair the car, please, after all the damage you've done to it? Guys, that's a 3-point turn. Found a road. That was a tree. See, this is how you drive. This is what I'm telling you. Oh. Okay, guys, I've got some news about the car.
He said he got some news about the car. Good game, Secret Toast. Just invite me anytime you want to play.
Shall do.
I'll never meet a British man again. No, he's our friend. He said that he'll invite us anytime we need to play. You tell, like, what is it called? Peter Parker. Peter Parker. Peter Parker.
I got an email from the University of Aberdeen, my old university, saying, James, you want to have posters of our alumni around campus to inspire current students. All the poster will be is your photo, name, degree, year of graduation, and your profession. And I said, okay, I'll do it. But I have two conditions. One, my poster is roughly 25% larger than everyone else's. Two, my profession is listed as professional golfer. They fucking did it. What I love is the look this person is. When I think about my life, I think about when I was moving out of my flat and I told the other people in the building that the National Trust had got wind of this and they installed a sort of a commemorative plaque at the front of the house. Or the time I tried to check out the Magna Carta from the British.
It's about 800 years old, so it's not the sort of thing we lend out. There are only 4 copies in the world.
Didn't realise it was that old, to be honest. Only just heard about it. You know those super long, I want to say conveyor belts, you know, escalators that are flat. Is that a conveyor belt? Yeah, that's a conveyor belt. That was, I should probably cut that, but I can't be bothered. Those really long conveyor belts you get at airports. That's why I think we're all on. Except the end isn't gate 7. It's death. And around us is a long, tedious corridor filled with echoes of infinite closing doors. And probably duty-free. And that's sort of scary when you think about it, because you're constantly making all these decisions that seem insignificant at the time, but you never really know what leads to what. Like, it's pretty much impossible to live the happiest life you could be leading, because you don't know what that is. You're not allowed to go back, do it all over again and check. So opportunities drift past and doors close, and you just have to hope that the decisions you're making are leading to some sort of happiness. Well, happiness is unsustainable anyway. I mean, you can't maintain it. It's like that unlimited movie pass thing. It's a nice idea, but eventually my friend Lou will watch The Rise of Skywalker 46 times and force the company into administration. Instead of trying to be happy, I think we should just all gun for content. Perpetually content beats periodically happy. Then again, content, now I've said it, that feels problematic. I mean, how can you be content when you know your friends are out there potentially doing better than you? Contentedness, that's a pipe dream. The best way to get on this conveyor belt is to find something achievable. Not happiness, not contentedness, but like a malaise. A general malaise. I mean, it sounds bleak, but better a definite, 100% solid malaise than a risky content. Shoot for malaise. If you miss that, there's always despair. We can always rely on despair. Despair's always been there for us. Because of the thing with the ducks, I now live alone. I'd like to meet someone, I think. I find online dating quite hard, though. Bumble once told me, it looks like you're out of people. In the world! I was having one interaction was funny. The girl sent me a selfie. I got permission to show this. And she said, you said I get in return. So I sent... As I get older, I have this kind of different interactions, though, you know, because I'm a different demographic, and I have a lot of chats with people who have kids. And this woman was talking to me. And she said, "Oh, I just had to put my kids to bed," and she sent me a picture. And I was like, "Oh, that's nice." But then I turned around and I was like, "Oh my God," because I was just going to bed, and that was my. I was like, "This is not good." One thing that's been happening quite a lot recently on dating profiles, I've noticed, is that quite often the first profile picture will be of 5 girls. And I'll be like, well, I hope it's you, but, and I'll scroll the next picture, and it'll be the same 5 women, but one of them's changed. I'm like, is this a game of Mastermind, or how do I... So, this is what I did as kind of response to that. This was my profile picture for a long time. We start there, and then you're able to swipe, and as it kind of goes in, and then it starts to kind of move over, and then at some point, it kind of, and then, you can...
When it comes to true portability, it's hard to go wrong with the MessagePad 130. Whether it be crunching numbers with the onboard calculator, generating a virtual business card, or simply capturing my whimsical ideas, the MessagePad 130 has me covered. Does your mind feel tangled up? Ease the pressure by writing down as much as you can. It's called a brain dump, and aided by my MessagePad, I've taken brain dumps all over the London Underground. Other people may choose different devices. Not everyone can take the cutting edge. But with storage for more than 200 contact numbers, I know I shan't be alone for long. James Veitch, communicator.
Genuine question. Do you feel like life is just a series of Ubers? Just trying to reach somewhere, but only to go, I don't know, there's a metaphor somewhere in there going on. There's a lot of travelling through things, but not much stopping off. I mean, what are we all doing? To what end? I know people say focus on the journey and not the destination, but the thing about those people is that those people have never taken a megabus. Besides, there are circumstances in which the goal is somewhat important. My sister asked me to pick up my niece and nephew from school, and I went on the journey, but came back without them. My sister would quite reasonably have 1 or 2 serious questions. Because there was a goal in mind, and I'd failed because that goal was to bring home 2 children. I mean, obviously not any children. I mean, ideally, you sort of come back with the same ones you left. It's not like a library. You can't just pitch up at the school and be like, well, I left 2, I'll take another 2. I'm not saying the end results aren't important, but it's weird because it's acceptable for my mum to spend a decade practicing the violin with no appreciable signs of improvement. In fact, noticeable regression.
Can I start again?
Then again, it's unacceptable to do 6 years of medical school and then just not bother going into the medical profession. People find it strange. In fact, they might quite reasonably make the assumption that this had not been of your own volition and that something had gone terribly, terribly wrong. Just let your mind wander. I'm not against ambition. As far as I'm concerned, nothing is too insignificant to turn into an achievement. If I use the loo in the middle of the night, I'll pee, wash my hands, head downstairs and grab a celebratory Kit Kat. Just to say, well done, James. No, it's Pavlovian though, so now anytime I pee and it's dark, I'm like, where's the Kit Kat?
London? Yeah.
Oh
London.
my God, it's nice to be busy.
It's nice to be busy, right, yeah. It is good.
I like it. When I'm busy, I'm happy.
When I think about my life, I think about a series of overexposed drone shots, how hard I'd have to work to disguise them as content, and how it was amazing that drone flew at all after that time when I was or the time I tried to check out the Magna Carta from the British Library.
Very, very old. It's signed by King John.
I see, okay.
Yes, yeah.
King John, that makes sense.
So,
has he still got it then? Is that why I can't? Can I have it after him?
okay, perhaps someone else.
We have to pay for a TV license in the UK. A TV license is for if you watch BBC, iPlayer, catch-up, or on demand. And it used to be the case that everybody had to buy a TV license. But now you might not need a license because you might not watch the BBC. You're watching other channels or using display as a monitor for games. Or
you don't have a TV at all. So not everyone needs to buy a TV license. But the licensing people don't know who does and who doesn't because they have no idea what you're watching on that TV. So what they do, rather than using the honour system, they instead blitz everyone with letters saying, why haven't you paid your TV licence? And they use all sorts of techniques, almost all of which are hostile. And they make it seem as if it's just you they're contacting, like they've got some sort of file on you. This is an example, this is one I received. Dear Sir or Madam, as you have not responded to our letters yet, you have left us no alternative. Our hands are tied. We wish we didn't have to send the letter, but we do. No alternative but to proceed with the final stages of our investigation. Our investigation is so large and comprehensive that it has stages. We're about to enter the final one. It does make you wonder how rigorous the initial stages were, given the fact that they failed to ascertain my name or gender. I would have thought that'd be a stage one sort of thing, you know? An officer has been scheduled to visit to find out if TV is being watched or recorded. The officer may visit your property any day of the week, morning or evening. So that's pretty much all the time then. Just not the afternoons. As I say, they do all sorts of things to frighten you. This is a stamp on the honour letters, and it's made to look like a stamp, but it's not a stamp. It's just they've been printed on there, and they tried to make it look like the ink's bled, but that's been printed on there. Also, that person, Jay Hales, they do not exist. I have checked. I was really annoyed with them for this, so I sent them an email, and I said, how much does a black and white licence cost? They said, Mr. Veitch, a monochrome licence costs £50.50. Is your only television monochrome? Said Nicholas on the TV licensing email team. I said, of course not. I've got a brand new LG. Why would I? In that case, you must pay for a standard TV licence, which is £150.50. Nicholas on the TV licensing email team. I said, 100%, but the thing is, either saturation... Not only to save money on my licence, but because I also turn the contrast all the way up, it has a knock-on effect of turning Love Island into a film. He said, nevertheless, you're using a colour television to watch live TV and must pay for a colour licence. I said, Nicholas, I don't watch television anymore. I just use the display to play games. That means I don't need a licence, right? Because I've done my research. And he said, yes, provided you never download or watch BBC programmes on iPlayer Live, catch up or on demand. I said, 100% guarantee I've never watched anything. He said, is there anything else I can help you with? I said, can you stop sending me letters? I feel persecuted. Much like Benedict Cumberbatch did. Almost 1 in 6 people who say they don't need a licence actually do need one. And I said, Nicholas, having never watched anything to the BBC, I don't need a licence. I'm like a fish in Blue Planet. Mr. Veitch, have you ever watched or downloaded digital TV? I said, no. But my friend Nige came over the other day and used the bathroom for ages. How do I know he wasn't watching iPlayer when he was in there? Should I ask him? Might cause friction. And there was a moment in these interactions where they're just like, I can't even. I said, do you think this will be enough to deter people? And what I'd done is this is why I attached to my bathroom door this thing that said, please do not watch. And you know, an officer may enter. I wonder whether he'd, but he did. He took the bait. He said, "How will this happen?" And I realised he was right because you cut that. That is not good enough. So I said.
Can you sing ABC?
Can I? Prepare to be impressed, Mother.
Right, in my defence, it is quite hard, and I do realise my mistake right here, and obviously it hasn't gone as well as I planned, but I can still turn the whole thing around by doubling down and muddying the waters as much as possible. Nailed it. The ones that you're most likely to get without having to go into the spam folder are the ones that pretend to come from friends of yours. Who are the best ones, though, because they're the ones where the scammer doesn't know what your relationship with that person is. So you can just say anything you want to. You can set traps. This is from my friend Catherine. Dear James, our journey has turned sour. We misplaced our wallet, passport, and cell phone. That's so Catherine. Such a Catherine thing to do. I will indeed be very grateful if I can get a loan of 1,800 euros from you. Catherine, of course I can help. Is everything okay? How's Keith doing? James, I'm so glad you replied back. Are you headed to the West? Genuinely, I don't think a legitimate transaction has gone through this company. Of course, don't worry. How's Keith, though? James, Keith is fine. He's having a meeting with the British Embassy now to get replacement passports. Please go to Western Union. And I said, of course, I'll pop along first thing tomorrow. I must say, though, Keith seems remarkably capable. Last I remember, he could roll over. He could woof for a treat. Now he's taking meetings at the British Embassy. Guys, I got an email from the FBI. I don't know how many of you know this, but the FBI write using all capital letters. To be fair, they might actually do that now. They might use crayons, who knows? My point is this, is that they sent me an FBI ID, but unfortunately for them, the first one to turn up when they Googled FBI ID was this one. And I don't know if you recognize that guy, but that's Agent Skinner from the X-Files. I said, Agent Skinner, is there really stuff going on in Area 51? They said, I don't know, Agent Skinner. I want to believe. The hardest ones for me to deal with are the honey traps, because beautiful girls will email me out of the blue. This girl was amazing, Elena. She was a very complex individual. She said, I'm a girl who loves to give people happiness always. And I was like, that's amazing, because that's exactly what I'm looking for. My hobbies are reading novels, jogging, listening to music, cooking, listening to music, TV and movies. I said, amazing. My hobbies are playing piano and guitar, pining for girls, worrying about climate change, pining for girls, and the poetry of John Keats. She said, here is a picture of me, and this is the picture that she sent. And as you can see, she's actually genuinely very, very beautiful. And I was like, I said, amazing. Fair enough. She said, this is me and my passport. I was just like, well, okay, what do we, She said, all men look on my visual aspect, and I want somebody who will look inside me. Grow up, guys. I said, I'm so sorry you haven't found anyone to look inside you yet. Okay, so here's the thing, is that there's a little dance going on because she's pretending to be someone else, I'm pretending to be someone else too. And like, I'm trying to get to play along. I was getting lots of comedy. I'm trying to get off book, keep her going. So I thought, who's her ideal mark? And I said, I've made a lot of money, but I don't have anyone to spend it on. It just sits in a Swiss account, earning interest. How boring. Don't go thinking I'm some sort of business mogul. I'm not. I've just made a few shrewd investments along the way.
I wish I had someone to share my life and wealth with. Something to keep me from those bi-weekly money bonfires I have in the garden for tax purposes. She said, I believe you are a very attractive man. I'm excited and my head is like any big station with a lot of voice. I said, how long have you been? And then she sent me something to validate the fact that she is who she says she is. So she sent me this. It was a picture of her holding up a piece of paper. And on that piece of paper was written my email address. I should just change the email address that's on here. But I've never done it. So just please refrain. You wouldn't believe the number of emails I get just saying hummus. So she sent me this, and I was like, holy shit, that means that it's her, right? I was like, no, actually, what's happened is obviously a guy, probably a guy, has taken a picture of a beautiful girl, or a series of pictures of her, and one with a passport, and then taken a picture of her holding up a blank piece of paper to Photoshop the person he's scamming's email address on there. And that was when I realised something, like, well, I have a copy of Photoshop as well. So I mean, first of all, I sent her this. I said, hi, Lena, really good to hear from you. Using this piece of paper to communicate is a superb idea. I didn't hear anything back. So I thought I'd try again. So I thought there was something in her eyes. So this is what I sent her as well. And then I didn't hear anything back, so I went thermonuclear, and I said, like, ah! She is Russian after all, you know?
I was playing this online game where it's multiplayer, so there are other people to play with. Not to play with, but other people playing that game at the same time as you, and you can communicate with them. I had a weird experience initially because I spent a long time searching for people and clothes. Couldn't find any of those either. There were one or two zombies knocking around, but otherwise the place was empty. The day I found the hoe was a great day because, well, first of all, in the apocalypse you're going to need some sort of agriculture, and it was a good way to break up the long periods of running. Hello. But apart from an extraordinary bear, I mean, that's amazing. An adorable bunny. Hello. I still hadn't worked out the problem. Hello. I was promised zombies and other people, but since I couldn't find any of those, the game for me now was, which I enjoyed at first, but it was getting a bit out of hand. It was what begun as a small plot of land and some shrubs had expanded at remarkable speed into something where the vibe was less bucolic and quaint and more industrial enterprise, requiring round-the-clock maintenance. So now, daytime was spent finding people. Hello. Or trying to. Hello. Hey man, how's it going? And then sort of nights. Oh, you're a zombie. Would be spent tending to my fields. I figured there was some sort of enclave where everyone was just hanging out and I just had to find it. I did this for about 3 weeks. 2 or 3 hours every night. Chance my eyes, I was not connected to the server, so it was just me. I fixed that problem, but with other people involved, the game was immediately very, very different. Harvesting potatoes, mainly. What about you?
To be honest, we've just gone on a killing rampage.
All right, cool. Well, It was very gunny. Hey, mate, how's it going? What's my community?
Wait for me, please. Can I get a lift with you?
Get off.
Hello.
That's not good. I was wondering whether I could be a part of your, And that wasn't a one-off. Your gang.
Please come back.
Ooh, you don't seem very nice. Who's the bad guy? Oh, you're the bad... You're the good guy. You're the good guy. Oh, shit. Mainly I stayed at the farm. I got used to this life of peace and tranquility. And whenever I went out, whenever I ventured, it was always the same thing.
Kill that guy, not me. He's the zombie. I'll be honest, you're not great with an axe. Oh, whoa, guys, calm down. You're meant to be the police.
And it affects you.
It rubs off on you. You can't help it, and you end up doing terrible things. I'm not proud of that, but I'm a vegetarian in real life, and I was hungry. The rabbit, more indefensible. I didn't like what I'd become. I had an idea. I made a chart, and the chart made things very clear. To equalise the balance, all I had to do was neutralise the violence with sort of the opposite. That doesn't sound like it makes a lot of sense, but if you look at the chart, it's. And so I set out, determined to bring mundanity back into the game.
Guys,
Yeah, what?
it's Chris's birthday on Thursday, and I was wondering, I thought it'd be nice if we did like a whip round for him or something like that, you know, like a kind of Yeah, it didn't go over well, but I was having fun doing it, so I kept trying. I was like a pilgrim, I was a preacher. I had to spread the good word. And so what I discovered is that if you use the display for games, it turns out you don't actually need a license. Wait, no, come, this is important information. When the license people, I hesitate to bring this up, but some of you have been putting the recycling in the wrong place. Guys, let's just take a moment. But you have to keep trying. Guys, I need picking up from the airport on Wednesday. No, Thursday. But hang on, it is Wednesday. Nigel. Nige, come over here. Nige. I thought you were not. Easy mistake to make. Stop running away. I'm a licensed yoga instructor.
Come over here.
I'm assuming you don't have a mat here, in which case, this is where you want to play, that's fine. Just remember they can turn up morning or evening. Colder. Colder. Do you ever stop for a moment just to kind of take it all in?
No.
Good to know. Hello. Warmer.
Fuck you.
No, mate, don't be so down on yourself. There's no easy way to ask this question, so I'm just going to come out and ask it. Do you have any spare trousers? Ooh, hang on, warmer. You're on fire! There's more to you than the shaved head and the bulletproof and the axe. The axe. You must see what I mean. How am I supposed to know that it's a box junction if the lines aren't clear?
You're crazy.
Okay, one more time. You get McConaughey and one more, yeah?
Where are your clothes?
Completely understand where you're coming from, but I am going to need an answer. In your honest opinion, am I an ocean or am I think you're going to regret this. I think you'll look back years from now. Your arrows are nothing. Everyone you fire at me only makes me stop. I did not mean to press that button. That is legitimately against me pressing the button. 3 words, hanging basket competition. What do you think?
I think you are in the wrong game.
I cancelled a train ticket up to Edinburgh, but it was okay because I bought cancellation protection, which I thought just meant if you cancel, you get your money back. No. I applied for an unexpected and unforeseen and verifiable cancellation of a business meeting. I sent them all the info, and they sent me back an email that said, "Dear Mr. Veach, unfortunately, this doesn't apply because it only applies for an unexpected and unforeseen and verifiable cancellation of a pre-planned and formally confirmed business meeting upon which a booked journey is predicated, where the business meeting is the sole purpose of the booked journey and which you or a member of the travelling party have been unable to reschedule. Business meetings cancelled by you or a member of the travelling party are specifically excluded. Under the terms and conditions, a business meeting is defined as a formal face-to-face meeting arranged exclusively for the purpose of business arranged between you or a member of the travelling party and a third party." Loophole. Other people would have given up at this point. I'll try it again. This was a very important meeting, the cancellation of which was entirely unexpected and could not have been foreseen. All this is verifiable with evidence of the arrangement of the meeting and the unexpected and unforeseen nature of the cancellation of this business meeting. This was a business meeting of which much may never be known due to its unexpected cancellation. But I would like to think that much would have been discussed at this meeting and many things delivered upon. I pride myself on my business meetings, their confirmation and the foreseen nature of their arrangement. Got a bit of pushback. They said, actually, we need formal confirmation that the meeting was scheduled and formal confirmation that it was cancelled.
in the form of emails or letters. Now, I did not have any emails or letters because there was no business meeting. I had been lying. But that's not the point. I was still annoyed. What if I had been telling the truth? So I have a lot of email accounts that I used for different sort of things back in the day. And one of them is a character called Feathers McDuck. So I sent myself an email from Feathers, which I then forwarded on to them. So the email from Feathers McDuck said, "Dear James, it is with a heavy heart that I tell you that the pre-planned meeting with the third-party client has been cancelled. This was entirely..." Could it be rescheduled? Alas, no. Owing to the exclusive nature of this business, rescheduling is completely impossible. It's disappointing because this was to be a face-to-face meeting arranged by you, and coming here for this in-person meeting that you arranged was the sole purpose of the book journey. I'm very sorry to have to be the one who has to cancel this meeting, what with me not being you or a member of the travelling party. Anyway, I hope you're not too disappointed. My only hope is that this email may one day prove useful, though I know not how. What I find with these people is that if you just go for long enough, they get tired.
Photography, for me, is not just a job. It's a way of life. I mean, it's not my job, but it's also a way of life. It's a way of looking at the world and just seeing what's there. And that's why I use my QuickTake 100 for all my shots. James Veitch, photographer.
To be so high, love, to be like nobody else, love. That's how I love you more. Beyond the midnight, beyond the words that I thought were so wise, beyond the reason why. No, I don't have an answer. I only know I'm with you.
The res on this is like nothing you've ever seen. Hang on, I'll take one of me now. Hang on, hold tight. So I'll send that one to you. You're just going to give me about half an hour. No, I'll fax it. Sorry, just had to capture that moment. You can't miss these things. Do you know what I mean? You can't. Although to be fair, I'm running out of space. I've already used up 16 kilobytes, so it's not even working. I don't know why we're.
I think we're all a bit afraid at the moment. Everything's moving very, very fast. One of the ways of dealing with this overload of information, this fear of missing out, seems to be posting pseudo-profound statements on Instagram. This person posted, "Love isn't a battery. It doesn't run out if you've used it too much." I replied, I said, "Love isn't a blender. It doesn't make soup." What are we doing here? And I get it. A lot of life is tedious. It's dilute. And we try and fill it with something profound. I'm not asking for William Blake here, but that's just, what is that? A friend of mine posted this quotation, and adjacent to it was her name over a picture of herself. And then that's something she said. You can't quote yourself, can you? You can't say, "Oh, that reminds me of something I once said." Anyway, let's try and understand what it means by playing a game I call Follow the Metaphor. As a man, you should be your woman's rock. Fine, I'm a rock. But be careful not to sink her to the bottom of your ocean. Am I an ocean or am I a rock? Give her wings to fly so that we're in the air. A safe place to land and she will give you the world. What does any of that mean? It's meaningless. So I've been knocking out my own version of these. Want to see them? That is the sound of anticipation I've not heard in a while. Do unto others as they would unto you have done to you. Reach for the stars. Here's the next one. Be the change you want to see the world become after it's been changed by you. shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Unless you're NASA, in which case this is a complete, that's not good. Just because we don't say certain things doesn't mean we don't feel them, unless we don't actually feel them, in which case fair enough. Happy Valentine's Day. I was in Australia a couple of years ago, and they have a gala. All the comedians come up, and you do 5 minutes of material, 5 minutes of stand-up, and then you toddle off. And that's it. Right, you do it, you leave the stage. But at the end, they go, guys, curtain call. And you're like, what? They play music and everybody comes on and they go, what? And we're all supposed to like, I don't know, we're not dancers, we're not actors, we don't know what to do. This time, well, I had to go find this footage because I did not know, I was told about this afterwards. I didn't know they filmed this part, I didn't know they did what they did. See if we can see, here's on the show to you, see if we can spot anything weird.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for everybody you've seen tonight as I welcome them back on the stage! Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Good night!
They fucked me. That's the last thing you saw before the credits.
Good night!
This was a great birthday. I mean, look at this present.
What is it?
I don't think I'd seen Star Wars yet.
It's a laser sword.
And clearly neither had my mother.
I want you to read who this one's from. To James, love from Dr. Goonglabbit.
Dr. Goonglabbit was my imaginary friend.
I think the way I saw it, if you have a friend and they're imaginary, why not give them a PhD?
Did you know Dr. Goonglabbit had sold you a patent? Yes!
Yeah, you may have mentioned it.
They did! Really? I thought there wasn't anybody, but there really is.
I was beginning to think that maybe Dr. Goonglabbit didn't exist at all. In fact, between you and me, Mother, I thought I might have made him up. But now it seems not only does he exist, but he's a very generous man. This is quite confusing. I think actually it probably explains, well, everything.
Someone filled in the emergency contact in their passport. Yeah? Yeah? Most people haven't. I discovered this doing this bit, but most people haven't done it. I don't know why, because you've got 2, you may as well. Why not fill it out? I mean, I discovered I hadn't, and I was just sitting there one day, and I happened to have a pen, and I just put down Matthew McConaughey. If you're going to have an emergency contact, why not McConaughey? I don't know him, he doesn't know me, but I think if there's an emergency, he'll know what to do. You'd have to do something, wouldn't you? If someone calls you and says, oh, they made you the emergency contact. You'd be like, who? And they made me the emergency contact? All right, what do you need? Which means that if you think about it, if something happens to me, Matthew McConaughey is going to be the one to relay the information to my family. Which means it's going to be double-edged, isn't it? Because on the one hand, my mum's going to be like, something terrible has happened to James. But guess who told me? I want to convince everyone to do this. Go home, look at your passport. If you haven't got anyone in there in the emergency contact, you've got one missing, pull it out, grab a pen, pop McConaughey. If I get 10 million people to do it, what to 20 million people, 100 million people to put Matthew McConaughey in as the emergency contact in the passport, we can change his entire career. That's within our power. How much fun would that be? Imagine if, like, 500 million people start putting it in. Eventually, the passport people will be like, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Let's just print McConaughey in. Everyone gets McConaughey and one more. Ever since I started doing this bit, people are sending me these. This person put, Matthew McConaughey, address one of the big houses in America. I think that's enough. I think I'll get there.
find it hard to get out of bed in the morning. I think I enjoy bed's limitations. I mean, if you think about it, you know, when you're in bed, there are only one or two things you could be doing. And quite often, I've already done one of them. I just find it intimidating, the number of things that I should be doing or could be doing once I get out of bed. The places to visit, the languages to learn, the experiences to have, books and the movies and the podcasts and the TV shows and the box sets. And the worst part is that people just keep writing new books and making new movies, and there's always another fucking podcast that you have to listen to, you know. People just need to stop until we've all caught up. If I got out of bed right now, by this time next year, I could, like, shuffle cards in a flamboyant manner. I could learn to do a handstand, or I could relearn long division. I want to get out of bed. I do. I want to change things. I want to mix it up, but sometimes I just wish there were fewer options. That's all. Alright, this is it. Let's do it. I suppose I better get up and fit. Oh, fuck it.
This is game. Cowboy game, lots of fun, very excited, bought a hat and a gun. Been waiting for this game for like 15 years, ever since the first one, so I was determined to make it last. And to that end, I've been avoiding doing the main quest. I should explain. In games, you have a main quest. And the main quest lead to the end of the game. I guess in life, the main quest would be like, you know, birth, school, university job, flat, girlfriend, inevitable death. It's accurate, but it's not the ideal tombstone. James Veitch completed life, albeit uneasy. So when this thing happened, the thing that after this laborious preamble I'm going to tell you about, I was about 60 hours into the game and I'd accomplished nothing, if that's how you measure accomplishments, which most people do. You have to do one mission at the start, so I had done that, well, almost done that. As far as I remember it, I'd had a gang, and there was an important guy, quite possibly the leader, and he'd been poisoned. Oh my God, he's gonna die. It was a big thing. Sort of all eyes turned to me, and they said, you need to go and get the antidote to the poison as fast as possible. Yeah, I can do that. Obviously, immediately, because he's, you know, and I said, yes, I'll do it. And they said, okay, be back to it. And I said, yep. And then what I did, I rode my horse as far away as I could possibly get.
You're a good filly.
And then just tried to forget about the guy being poisoned. I just did my own thing. I was just hanging out. I discovered a town, chatted to people, got to know them. What else did I do? Fishing. Spent a lot of time fishing. That was a good pastime of mine. You have to tease it's like I've been doing all sorts of things. White horse, you are mine. Snow gently does it. And approach.
Easy, girl.
Not too fast. Almost within range. Quiet. I made little games for myself. I spent about 20 hours just trying to find the perfect hat. which is quite hard to do because, you know, obviously your appearance changes over time, and there are a lot of hats in that game.
You've got to select the hat for the kind of the look.
If I were to quantify, I'd say that my first 3 months with the game was 70% fishing, 25% hats,
and 5% gunplay. And that was only because sometimes I'd kill someone because they had a nice hat.
Is that bad? Yes. But there was always this nagging sensation that there was something I had to do.
The medicine. But to be honest, it had been a while.
After like a year, I began to think that the situation with the poisoned dude, it probably resolved itself one way or the other.
Because he wasn't doing well when I left.
Me going back there would probably just, you know, stir up all sorts of bad memories.
No. Oh, you're the guy who was meant to get the medicines. Yes, that was me. What could possibly be more important than the antidote? Anything else? I don't know if you've known. So I've been staying clear of that sort of area. And then this thing happened, the thing I want to tell you about. One day,
I was just minding my own business. I just shot a blue jay, and I was like, oh, I will just add that to my collection of blue jays.
a guy from the main quest, a guy I've not seen, bear in mind, for like over a year, just pitches up on his horse.
There you are, friend. Hello, Javier.
I mean, first of all, how did he find me? The game is basically the size of Sheffield. I have no idea how he actually... Also, I've changed my appearance quite a lot, so... And he just starts, he begins to question me.
Dutch is worried about you. I ain't dead yet. Yeah, so I see. You want to head back to camp with me? Or you want me to tell him you're fine?
What that means is that if you've not been doing the main quest, if you've just been doing your own thing, they've programmed someone into the game to find you wherever you are, come up to you, look you in the eye, and just go, "Are you okay? Is everything all right with you? We've got a lot going on back there and you're not. What have you been doing all this time? Yeah, it's a nice hat, but it's been a year. Why must this guy get involved with the way I live my life?" Watch the awkward pause as I tell him I'm fine and he can just leave me alone.
I'll tell him I'm fine. I'll be back soon enough. Okay.
It's outrageous. Leave me alone. If I wanted to interact with people, I wouldn't be sitting at home on a Saturday night playing Red Dead Redemption. Wearing a cowboy hat I bought to facilitate immersion.
Is that a gun in your pocket, or you just... It's a...
People don't like it when you don't participate in the main quest. Maybe the main quest is all the things that are expected of you you don't necessarily question. The gist of life. You know what I don't like? I don't like people who insist on posting their runs from little apps, like my friend Max, Autumn Heath Run. He names them. Afternoon Run. Go. Heath Short, as opposed to the Heath Long he did earlier on. I made an account just to sign in, friend him, and do trip. Do you know that your iPhone, if you carry your iPhone around with you, has a health app on it, and you can go in there, if you open it, there's a whole section on, you know, how does it know? How does it know? But it does know, because I checked it, and it's... Checks everything. It tracks my steps, I looked at my steps. It transpires one day in 2014, I took 6 steps. I genuinely don't know how I did it. 6 steps.
There were fewer choices, or there were choices that were made for you, which I think on the whole probably made you happier. There was none of this, have I made a mistake? Back in the day, it was simpler. Back in 1817, there were 3 eligible partners in the village, and it was like, okay, we'd rather you didn't pick her because, you know, her family's not rich. Oh, she just died of consumption. Choice made. Even the internet back in the day was simpler. You couldn't accidentally spend 4 hours balls deep in Wikipedia because there was no Wikipedia. Incidentally, did you know that if you take any Wikipedia page and you click on the first link, and then on the page it takes you to, you do the same thing, you click the first link on that page, and then keep on clicking the first link at the first page the first link takes you to, basically drilling down and down into Wikipedia. If it 9 times out of 10, you'll get to a page that's just called Natural Sciences. And that's it. That's where you always end up. It's the ontological equivalent of that puzzle in Zelda, where every exit is an entrance to the room you're just in. Interestingly though, if you do click on the first link on the Natural Sciences page, it sends you to a page about the only person still making and selling floppy disks, with a quotation that's objectively fantastic. In the beginning, I figured we would do floppy disks, but never CDs. Eventually, we got into CDs, and I said we'd never do DVDs. A couple of years went by, and I started duplicating DVDs. Now I'm also duplicating USB drives. You can see from this conversation that I'm not exactly a person with great vision. In 1990, there was a book called Everything on the Internet. That was actually the name of the book, and it wasn't even that thick. It was just like a list of URLs. If you look cooking, here were 20 sites about cooking. And then in 1991, they released the second edition, which was twice as thick and twice as heavy. And then in 1992, they released a third edition, which was, again, twice as thick as that. And in 93, they had a meeting, and someone questioned whether this was in fact sustainable. Also, was it possible to catalogue this information in another way, like perhaps on the very thing it was trying to catalogue? I don't understand anything anymore, because you can't understand one thing without understanding all the other things that come before it. But at least we used to be under the impression that we could understand one thing. There was one newspaper in the day, and we got that, we read that, and we thought, there are our opinions. But now, see, I'll see something in the news about the Philippines, and I'll mention it, and then someone will say, well, you say that about the Philippines, but how can you say that with India's history? And I'm like, I have no idea. And then I'll be with a friend, and then she'll say something about the Philippines, and I'll say, oh, well, how can you say that without India's history? And then my friend will say, are you going to just ignore the whole of 1932 then? And the key thing to mention here is that I have understood none of these things. Not the Philippines, not India, nothing. I'm basically like a horse that's been trained to tap its hoof a certain number of times in order to give the illusion that it understands basic arithmetic. That's why I'm a trained horse. Nevertheless, I'll be like, and I'll make a note to mention this to my friend when I see them. So essentially, I'm just a cipher. I just parrot information back and forth. These two people are having a conversation, and I'm just acting as a relay. 9 times out of 10, if you talk to me about a subject, you're basically having a conversation with the last person I spoke to. I used to take a lot of flights, long flights, for corporate gigs. I used to do a lot of corporate gigs. Big companies would hire me. Because I use slides, I think they think they're learning. Every time I do it, every time I lose a bit of my soul, but I gain a bit of a house. Fair. Anyway, so I was on this flight. It was like a 10-hour flight, and I was bored, and I was going through the in-flight entertainment system, and I discovered something called Seat Chat. Have you heard of Seat Chat? Oh, so everyone heard of Seat Chat? I never heard of it. Seat Chat. Chat with one of the guests in another seat. Flirt with someone you saw in the gate area. You know the one. They've got to change that, haven't they? Instruction, this just tells you how it works. Basically, wherever you're sitting, Seat Chat will alert you to new messages or just pop up with them. It says anytime you can opt out of a chat or block a seat. Which seems like quite an awkward thing to do on a 10-hour flight. That's how you invite a seat there. And this is the chat interface. I was on it was not a full flight by any means. I had a whole row to myself, but I could see where everyone else was kind of dotted around, etc. And I just started playing with this. And I just started, so I said, I'd like to add you. And very quickly, I was, but I had the whole row to myself. So I just kind of... Hey, have you been getting invitations to join LinkedIn? Yeah, what the fuck? I know, right? Ridiculous. We should complain. Yeah. We need to coordinate. How? Is it a... Honestly, by the end of the first 3 hours, I've been blocked by all of first and most of business.
Then I realised you can add an alias. It doesn't come up as your seat number, it comes up as whatever alias you put down. So I just put down Virgin Atlantic. Well, it didn't stop me doing that, really. I said, pardon the interruption, our records indicate you purchased this flight using air miles. Can you confirm? No. Thank you for confirmation. No. Unfortunately, your account does not contain sufficient air miles for this flight. No. Consequently, you will be ejected 3 miles east. Am I really, is that the best alias I could come up with? Like, really? You know, I thought, who's the most important person on the plane? So I put down... I tried this for a while, but the good thing is you can see where everyone is kind of on the plane, dotted around, so you just keep going. So I said, welcome aboard this Virgin Atlantic flight to JFK. Thanks. I don't suppose you have any... Asking for a friend. Ah, you're not the pilot. I am. No, you're not. 100% am. He said, then why did you help flying the plane? I said, I lied on my resume about being able to fly a plane. He said, okay, which seat are you in really? I said, the one at the front. You can't fly the plane from economy. He said, if you can't fly the plane, get the co-pilot to. Shit. Then I realised. The thing about life is that there's a carrot. And for instance, you can see another carrot. And you think, well, that's good because there's something to look forward to, you know, after the carrot I'm currently looking forward to. And perhaps you're quite clever and you can see a third carrot further in distance, but fundamentally, you're still chasing carrots. I don't know whether the thing I do matters. I suspect it doesn't. And you might say, James, that's not true. If you achieve something great, people remember you. Look at Shakespeare. Things he created still change, still echo, and that's true for the moment. But there will come a time when Shakespeare is just a name, and, you know, over time, we'll forget even that. And the sun will dim, and the earth will die. Not a sort of massive explosion as far as I understand it, but just sort of, it'll just get colder and more lonely. And in spite of this, or because of this, until then, all we do, day in, day out, is distract ourselves from this harrowing realization through the frequent purchase of small items from Amazon Prime. But bringing that up on a first date is apparently a bit much. It's a good idea to strive for meaning, even though it's ultimately futile. Trying to understand everything from this vantage point is sort of like trying to understand breakfast by interrogating a baked bean. It's beyond the capacity of a baked bean to understand the bigger... Every time I think I know something for sure, I'm basically a caterpillar telling his friends, guys, this is it, caterpillar for me. Green Crawley thing, you know, one of those? That's definitely what I am. It's just who I am, that's what I do. No untoward changes in my future. Oh, no, no, no. Just to tuck myself in and wake up tomorrow exactly the same. Find something, like something permanent, like a message in a stick of Brighton Rock. Or syphilis. No matter if you're arguing about a box junction or standing in front of God. Now I shall grant you the knowledge you have yearned for. I can be like, well, no, I'm good. Don't you want to know what it was all for? And it becomes clear that obviously that's not the response God expected. He's not happy about it. I don't get it. Wasn't it hard down there, not knowing anything for certain? Well, what do you mean?
Obviously, reality is quite subjective. Life, as you knew it, I don't know where you're going with this, it was unattainable, unquenchable. There is no truth. I don't really get it, but he's on a roll, so what? You can know more and more, but you can't know everything about one thing. You can't even know anything about one thing. At this point, I have to cut God off because, well, first of all, he's clearly just enjoying the sound of his own voice, and also, he's wrong. I say, but I do know everything about one thing. And God looks up, clearly a bit unsettled. God, look, I found something that is true no matter what. And God says, well, what is it? What is it? And to be honest with you, at this point, we've sort of swapped roles. I say, life may be tedious and wonderful and pointless and far too short, but there is one thing that I know to be true, one unshakable belief, a fact that remains true throughout all the complexity and absurdities of life, the truth that I hold fast. And God's like, shit, this guy's wise. I may not know much about anything. There aren't any facts that can't be disputed. There are no ideas not transient, no love not fleeting. But with 100% certainty, I can say this. Hot Shot City is particularly good.
Oh yeah. Rhapsody in Blue. There it goes. Da, 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 da. And then it goes da 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 da. So I always feel like that. Darling, be something. Once I see again, there'll be something said, and I say yeah. Like and finish off. Like it's like the finish. Finish off. And the something will, and this something is turned in on itself by this minor bit. But that leads me to consider the fact that that might be true. So you can see that I'm lost. I'm lost. But that's what it's going to try.